Hello and welcome to the Rural Whip. Today I'm going to talk to you about gun fit. You might have decided your current gun doesn't fit you anymore and you want a new one, or you might be going out to buy your gun for the first time. So here we go. If you're going to a game fair or a gun shop or even just to buy the gun privately, try and wear the clothes that you're going to wear to shoot in, because you need to get a realistic feel for what the gun is going to be like when you try it. As you can see, I'm wearing a skeet vest today because I normally shoot in a skeet vest. Got a jumper on underneath because personally I don't like anything too bulky. I don't like things around my neck when I'm shooting, so obviously no big polo neck or big fleecy jumper for me. My hair is tied back so that it's not dropping in my face when I'm trying to look down the gun. So, what kind of gun? Personally, I shoot a 12 bore. This is my gun. This is a Perazzi MX8 trap gun because I used to shoot trap. I'm currently just starting to shoot sporting again, but at the moment I'm still using my trap gun. Personally, I prefer 12 bore. I've never started on a 20 bore as some people recommend for women because, as you can see, I'm not small, I'm reasonably powerful, I'm a good UK size 16 and I don't struggle with the gun at all. If you look at who goes to the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games and some of our leading top women shooters, most of them are shooting a 12 bore. Having said that, there's nothing wrong with a 20. They're usually a bit lighter, which means you might get a bit more recoil off them because there isn't the bulk there to absorb the recoil. And if you're going out game shooting and walking for long distances, I can certainly appreciate that a 20 bore would be nice in those circumstances, because my Perazzi is not massively heavy, but there's good weight to it. But having said that, because there's good weight to it, it absorbs the recoil, so I don't get a bashed shoulder or anything like that. I can shoot this gun all day long. I've been on ranges and literally shot over 1,000 cartridges in the matter of a few hours, and my shoulder has been fine. So let's start with hand placement. Personally, I like my hand to have a nice grip. This particular stock has what's called a palm swell. That's a bump in the wood that fits into the palm of my hand. It helps give me a nice secure grip on the gun. Moving to where the finger goes to the trigger. As you can see, it's quite straight for me. I like that kind of grip. The reason I like it is because when I'm visualizing shooting, I'm looking at the clay and trying to grab it with the shot. And I would do that with a nice straight finger. If I was to try and do that with my finger pointing downwards like that, it just doesn't feel as comfortable to me. So I want a nice straight finger to the trigger. Right, my left hand, I place that part way down in a nice comfortable grip. The main movement of my gun is coming from this hand. This one is for balancing and just helping along. To find out where to put this hand, to be honest, it's time on the range and dependent on your gun. I say dependent on your gun because it can vary on the balance of your gun, if your gun is slightly barrel heavy or stock heavy. So you'll see some shooters with their hands down here and some with their hands further back here. It really is personal preference and what you find is comfortable for you. The one thing I will say though is that you need to be consistent, and to help me be consistent, as you can see, I've actually got an old plaster on my gun. I put my thumb on that plaster and that's where my hand goes. It means it's one less thing for me to think about when I'm shooting. I just put my thumb straight onto there and I know my gun and my hands are in the right place. Right then, type of stock. As you can see on the gun that I showed you, and on this stock here, this is another one of my stocks, I shoot with an adjustable stock. This, I think, is one of the best things for women. The truth of the matter is that there are not many guns out there made for women. They're mostly made for men. And unfortunately, we are not built like men. Some men are not built like men. My shoulders are slanted, I've got a longer neck, I've got cheekbones, and my shoulder pocket is down here. What this means for the stock is that quite often with men's stocks, they'll be too low, which means you can't actually see down the barrels. I've got my husband's gun here, and when I close his gun and put my head on the stock, I can't see the sight. All I can see is under here, and that is because the stock is too low for me. So, going back to this stock, as you can see, this one's got a wooden adjustable. The other one on my permanent gun has got a Perazzi, it's like a Kickies, Cheekies type thing on top. Doesn't really matter which one, as long as it's comfortable for you. The other thing I like, because I've got cheekbones, is quite a wide stock on this part of the comb. I just find it more comfortable up against my face. I don't like them when they're sharp. So make sure this is comfortable for you. Next part of the gun is the butt plate. This is quite important. Women, again, built differently to men because we've got a chest. So my butt plates tend to tail off on this bottom bit so that they fit nicely as my chest starts to come out. So the butt plate goes in, so the gun feels better in the shoulder. On a lot of men's guns, my husband's isn't as bad. They tend to point slightly at the bottom, and I find as a woman that digs in just at the point that I'm starting to come out. So, staying with the butt plate, on this gun you can see I've got an adjustable one. This means it can be slanted to the left or the right and moved up or down, again to make fitting easier. These aren't expensive, you can get them off eBay, to be honest. To make a stock adjustable, originally this stock was not adjustable. I had it made and it fitted lovely, and then I lost a load of weight and it didn't fit at all. I wanted to keep shooting it, so had it made adjustable. This cost between £150 and £200 at the local gunsmith. He did an excellent job. I'm very pleased with it. I believe it's the Krieghoff system that he put onto this stock. So there you go. So now to the most important bit. What do you actually see when you look down the barrel, and how to place your head on the stock. I'm going to use the one without the barrels attached. The really, really important bit, and I cannot impress this enough, is to keep your head straight. I see so many people doing this to try and make the gun fit, or doing that, or over here, and you mustn't. You really must, when you put that gun up, keep the gun straight so that your eyes are level. The reason this is really important is that you're relying on your eyes to see the clay, to move the gun, and to then tell you when to pull the trigger. Even without a gun in your hand right now, try tilting your head to the side. Now try moving it left and right as if you're trying to follow a clay, and you'll feel how difficult it is. So if you do that whilst you've got the gun up, you're naturally going to try and put your head straight the minute you start to move, because it's so difficult. Your body cannot do it. So it's so important when you're having your gun fitted to make sure you keep those eyes straight so that you can move nice and easily left and right, up and down. And it also means you're not going to damage your neck or have any problems with your neck. I once competed down at Bisley at an international event. I shot really well, but I couldn't actually leave the event for a further 2 days because I damaged my neck that badly. because I'd started having to move my head over and it had basically pulled all the muscles in the side of my neck. So to be consistently good and consistent on your targets, you need to keep your head straight on the stock. One of the best ways to do this is to practice in front of a mirror. So imagine that there is a mirror in front of me and I would mount my gun and look at myself in the mirror to see if my head is straight. If you're out at the gun shop and you've got someone with you, explain this to them and that is what you're looking for. Right then, so we've now come to the conclusion that we've got our head straight on the stock. What do we see when we're looking down the barrels? We want to be seeing straight down the barrel. First thing. The next thing is what you actually see down the barrel. Do you see any of the barrel at all? Now this is very dependent on which discipline you're wanting to shoot. If you're going to shoot trap, it's quite normal to see quite a bit of the barrel. Some have a sight halfway and then a sight at the end, and basically for most trap disciplines you're looking for it to look a bit like a figure of 8. Another way some people say is to put 2 euros at this end of the gun and you should just still be able to see the sight at the far end. If you're shooting sporting, you wouldn't want to see as much. You'd want a flatter gun, so you'd only maybe see the sight at the end and not very much of the barrel. As I say, again, put the gun up and help with a mirror. Most gun shops should have a mirror for you to be able to go and have a look at yourself in. So, we've gone through what to look for in the stock, what to look for in the gun in general. The next thing, if you're happy with the gun, is to take it onto a range and use a pattern plate, because then you will know 100% that that gun is shooting where you're looking. That is the key to good shooting. So a pattern plate, in case you don't know, is basically a large board that is put at a distance away from you with a marker on it, and you basically move the gun up to the marker and pull the trigger as you come to the marker. You can then see what pattern your cartridges are throwing and what your gun is shooting at. Right, other things to look out for. What kind of condition is the gun in? My Perazzi, I've had it since I was 21, so it's quite an old gun now. It has shot literally hundreds of thousands of cartridges, so non-expectedly it's a little loose and it's a little grubby in places, and it is what it is, but I love it. I don't think I could ever get rid of this gun. It's been through so much with me and it has just been so reliable. So, but when you're looking for a gun, you want it, ideally, you want it to feel nice and tight, not as loose as mine. Has it been looked after? Is there any major signs of wear and tear on the gun? Have a look down the barrels. What kind of state are they in? Are there any pitting in the barrels? And then if you're looking at a gun with multi-chokes, what kind of state are they in? Are they easy to remove? I'll be perfectly honest, I've got Teague chokes. One of them is permanently stuck in the barrel. The other one is absolutely fine. I need to send it back and get it sorted, but I don't lose sleep over it, to tell the truth. So, are you happy with the way the gun handles? You put the gun up and move it left and right, up and down. How does it feel? Is it comfortable? That is what you're looking for in a gun. You want to be able to shoot it all day, every day. You want to feel confident and comfortable with your gun. You want to be able to get into a position that once you've started shooting, you don't have to think about whether the gun is fitting you or not. All you should be concentrating on is that clay out there. because you know 100% your gun is fine. When I go out onto the range, I don't even look at my gun, I'm looking out there because I know my gun fits, and I just lift it up, mount it in and shout, pull, when I'm ready. I hope you found that helpful. If you'd like to follow me, it's the Rural Whip on Facebook, and where I'll be doing more on shooting and other rural pursuits. Thank you for watching.